You thought it was weakness, didn't you? Every time you fall into that thing that consumes you so much, you tell yourself you're pathetic, that you have no control, that something inside you is broken. You punish yourself, you judge yourself. You sink a little deeper every time you repeat the pattern. And then you do it again, over and over. The cycle doesn't end because you're not understanding what's really going on. That addiction that embarrasses you, that habit you hide, that behavior you promise to quit every Sunday night is not what you think. It's not an empty vice. It's not simply a character flaw. It's something much deeper, something your conscious mind refuses to see, but your unconscious is screaming desperately. Your addiction is an encrypted message from a part of you that doesn't know how to communicate in any other way. Let's go deeper. Have you ever asked yourself why you always go back to the same thing? It's not because you're weak, it's because there's a need you're not seeing. Every repetitive behavior hides a psychological function that your brain has decided is vital for your emotional survival. The addiction is not the problem. It's the solution your mind found for a problem you still haven't identified. Think about it. When you dive into that thing you're trying to avoid, what's happening right before? What are you running from? What emotion are you silencing? Because every time you fall, you're not seeking pleasure, you're seeking relief. And that relief is temporary, yes, but in that moment it's the only thing you know. Psychology has a name for this. It's called negative reinforcement. You don't consume, you don't gamble, you don't lose yourself in screens because it makes you happy. You do it because it eliminates something that hurts. And here's the deadly trap. Your brain learns that this action saves you from discomfort, even if only for 20 minutes. So it turns it into a neural highway, a path so well traveled that your mind walks it without thinking. It's not that you lack willpower, it's that your brain is programmed to protect you, even if that protection is slowly destroying you. Carl Jung saw this clearly decades ago. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your addiction is not fate, it's a messenger. But you keep killing the messenger instead of reading the message. Do you know what's most disturbing? That your addiction is revealing exactly what your soul needs, but in reverse. It's like a photographic negative. The image is there, but inverted. If your addiction is obsessive control, your soul is asking you to surrender. If your addiction is constant avoidance, your soul is begging you to face something. If your addiction is external validation, your soul is dying of thirst for authenticity. Every compulsive behavior is a legitimate need expressed in a distorted way. The problem isn't that you have that need. The problem is that you've learned to satisfy it in the most destructive way possible. And here comes what nobody tells you. You cannot eliminate the need. You can only change the way you meet it. Most approaches to addiction are a frontal war. Suppress, control, punish. But you're fighting against yourself, and that's a battle you will never win. It's like trying to put out a fire with more fire. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, discovered something brutal. Man's main concern is not to gain pleasure or to avoid pain, but rather to see a meaning in his life. Your addiction has meaning, even if you don't see it. It's fulfilling a function, filling a void, covering a wound. As long as you don't understand what function it serves, you'll keep going back to it. You can quit alcohol and move to food. You can quit gambling and immerse yourself in work. You can quit social media and lose yourself in toxic relationships. Because the behavior changes, but the need remains intact. So, what's the way out? First, stop seeing yourself as an addict. That label defines you, traps you, turns you into your problem. You're not an addict. You're a person with a dysfunctional survival strategy. That difference changes everything. When you see yourself as an addict, the solution is to eliminate the behavior. When you see yourself as someone with an unmet need, the solution is to find another way to meet it. It's a subtle change in language that opens an abyss of possibilities. The question is not, how do I stop doing this? The question is, what am I trying to get with this? And that second question takes you to places you didn't even know existed. Let's go even deeper. Your addiction didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built on a foundation of unprocessed pain. Maybe it was childhood trauma. Maybe it was a loss you never grieved. Maybe it was emotional abandonment disguised as a functional family. It doesn't matter what it was. What matters is that the pain is still there, buried under layers of distraction. And your addiction is the shovel you use to keep burying it. But here's the relentless truth. What you bury alive stays alive, and the more you bury it, the louder it screams. Freud was right about something fundamental. What is repressed always returns. And it returns in disguise. It returns in behaviors you don't understand, in impulses you can't control, in addictions you can't break. Most people live in total denial. I don't have trauma, they say. My childhood was normal, they insist. Lie. We all have wounds, because being human is being wounded. The problem isn't having wounds, the problem is not recognizing them. And when you don't recognize them, your mind finds creative ways to manage them. Addiction is one of those ways. It's your psyche trying to self-medicate, trying to balance what is unbalanced. That's why superficial treatments don't work. You can go to therapy for years, attend support groups, read every self-help book on the planet, but if you don't reach the root, you'll keep going in circles. The root is not the behavior. It's the pain the behavior is trying to soothe. Here comes something that will make you uncomfortable. Your addiction may be protecting you from something worse. It sounds contradictory, but it's real. There are people whose addiction is the only thing keeping them away from suicide. There are people whose compulsion is the only thing that gives them structure in the middle of chaos. Your mind is not stupid, it's incredibly intelligent. And if it chose that addiction, it's because at some point in your life, that was the best option available. The problem is that your situation has changed, but your strategy hasn't. You're still using survival tools you no longer need, but your brain doesn't know that. It's stuck in the past, responding to threats that no longer exist. And while you live in the present, your nervous system is still living in the original trauma. So what do you do with that? First, be grateful. Yes, be grateful to your addiction, because at the time, it saved you. It kept you alive. It gave you a way to keep going when you had no emotional resources. It's not your enemy, it's your former ally that stayed longer than necessary. And second, start building new alliances. You can't eliminate a behavior without replacing it with another. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does your psyche. If you leave an empty space where your addiction used to be, that space will be filled with something. It could be another addiction. It could be depression. It could be overwhelming anxiety. That's why you need a replacement strategy, not an elimination strategy. Neuroscience confirms it. Neural pathways are not erased. They are rewritten. Every time you perform a behavior, you reinforce a connection in your brain. And those connections are like highways. The more you use them, the wider they become. Your addiction has a 12-lane highway in your brain. You can't blow it up, but you can build a new one next to it. And every time you take the new route, even if it's harder at first, you're paving an alternative. With time, that new route becomes easier, more automatic. But you need patience because your brain doesn't change overnight. It needs repetition, it needs consistency, it needs you to trust the process, even when you don't see immediate results. But here's the trick no one tells you. You can't do this alone. Addiction thrives in isolation. The more alone you are, the stronger it becomes. Because when you're alone, you only have your mind for company, and your mind is the one with the problem. You need real human connection, not superficial. You need someone who can see your pain without judging it, who can listen to your story without trying to fix you. Healing doesn't happen in solitude, it happens in relationship. And here's the paradox. You seek addiction because you feel disconnected, but addiction disconnects you even more. It's a vicious circle that only breaks when you allow someone in. Now comes the philosophical part that will change your perspective. Nietzsche said something brutal. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your addiction exists because you lost your why. You don't have a purpose that is stronger than your pain. And when you don't have a purpose, your mind looks for anything that fills the void. Addiction becomes your default purpose. It's pathetic, yes, but it's something. It's better than absolute nothingness. That's why people don't quit addictions with willpower alone. They quit when they find something that matters more. It could be a child, it could be a mission, it could be a dream you finally decide to pursue. But it has to be something that pulls you out of bed with more strength than the addiction pulls you back. And here's what your soul is really asking for. Authenticity. Your addiction is the direct result of living a life that isn't yours. You're fulfilling other people's expectations, following a script others wrote, playing a character you didn't choose, and that is slowly killing you. So your psyche rebels in the only way it knows how, by self-destruction. It's a twisted way of saying, this is not life. Your addiction is a silent scream saying, I need something real, something mine, something that makes sense. But no one taught you to listen to that scream, so you interpret it as weakness and fight it with more repression. Fatal mistake. The truth is you need to dismantle your fake life before you can build a real one. And that's terrifying. Because your fake life has stability, it has social approval, it has the illusion of security. Your real life is chaotic, uncertain, potentially rejected by everyone you thought mattered. So you stay stuck in the middle, living a lie that consumes you and using addiction as anesthetic. Kierkegaard called it despair, living without being yourself. And it's the most common form of human suffering. Most people die without ever having lived as themselves, and they spend their last moments wondering why they never felt complete. Don't let that happen to you. Your addiction is trying to save you, but it's using the wrong method. Listen to what it's really saying. It's saying that you need to change something fundamental in your life. It's saying there's a part of you that is starving. It's saying that the pain you're avoiding is exactly the pain you need to go through to get to the other side. Because on the other side is the version of you that no longer needs anesthetic, that can feel fully without breaking, that can exist without constantly running away from itself. So stop fighting your addiction and start using it for what it really is, a map toward your healing. Every time you feel the urge, pause. Don't suppress it, observe it. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I running from? What do I really need? And then, instead of satisfying the urge, meet the real need. If you need comfort, seek it in real people. If you need escape, seek real adventures. If you need control, seek real mastery over your life. Needs are legitimate, Strategies are interchangeable. Change the strategy. Keep the need visible. And here is the final point you need to burn into your mind. Your addiction will not disappear until you build something bigger than it. You can't leave a void and expect it to stay empty. You have to fill it with meaning, with purpose, with real connections, with a version of you that is worth protecting. As long as you remain small, addiction will be big. As long as you keep living a mediocre life, addiction will be your only source of intensity. But when you start building something real, when you start truly living, addiction loses its power. Not because you defeated it, but because you no longer need it. It becomes irrelevant, obsolete, a remnant of who you used to be when you still didn't know how to live. So stop fighting and start building. Your soul is not calling to destroy you, it's calling to wake you up. And your addiction is the loudest alarm it could find. Answer the call. Because here's what nobody explains to you when they talk about addictions. You're not fighting an external enemy. You're fighting a part of you that refuses to die. And that part has powerful reasons to exist. It was created in moments of crisis, shaped by pain, refined by years of repetition. It's not a manufacturing error, it's an adaptation. Your brain did exactly what it was supposed to do. Find a way to keep you functioning when everything else was falling apart. The problem is that this way of functioning has an expiration date, and you keep using it long after it stopped being useful. Think about this. How many versions of yourself have you buried in order to keep going? How many dreams did you abandon because someone told you they weren't practical? How many times did you silence your inner voice because it didn't match what was expected of you? Each of those small deaths leaves a residue, a kind of emotional debt that your psyche will eventually collect. And when it comes time to collect, it does so with interest. Your addiction is the collector, and it's demanding that you pay attention to everything you've ignored. Not with money, but with presence, with brutal honesty, with the courage to look at what you've been avoiding for years. Trauma psychology teaches us something fundamental. The body keeps the score. You can fool your conscious mind, you can rationalize, justify, minimize, but your body knows. Your nervous system records every moment of unprocessed terror, every repressed emotion, every truth you swallowed in silence. And eventually, that record manifests. It can show up as addiction, it can show up as illness, it can show up as emotional collapse. Your organism is not designed to carry indefinitely what you don't process. It has a limit, and when it reaches it, it lets you know in ways you cannot ignore. So here's the question that changes everything. What would happen if you stopped running? Not for a day, not for a week, but definitively. What would happen if you stayed still and allowed everything you've been avoiding to catch up with you? It sounds terrifying, I know, because you've built your entire identity around avoidance. You're an expert at keeping yourself busy, at keeping yourself distracted, at keeping yourself just anesthetized enough not to feel the full weight of your existence. But that expertise is costing you your life. Every day you spend running is a day you're not really living. You're in survival mode, not in full life mode. And here comes something that's going to sound contradictory. You need to hit bottom, but not physically. You need to hit bottom emotionally, spiritually, existentially. You need to reach the point where the mask completely breaks, where you can no longer pretend, where the performance ends. That moment is terrifying, but it's also liberating. Because only when you have nothing left to lose can you start building something authentic. Only when you accept that you are completely broken can you stop trying to appear whole? And paradoxically, that acceptance is the first real step toward wholeness. Mystics from all traditions speak of this as the dark night of the soul. It's that moment where everything you thought you knew about yourself collapses, where your strategies fail, where your masks fall, where your ego disintegrates. And on the other side of that disintegration is something you never imagined: your true self. Not the self you built to survive, but the self that was always there, waiting to be discovered. But to get there, you have to go through the hell of letting everything else go. And your addiction is your ticket into that hell. It's not hell itself, it's the door. Now, this is not a romanticization of suffering. I'm not saying you should celebrate your addiction or dive deeper into it. I'm saying you need to completely change your relationship with it. Stop seeing it as the enemy and start seeing it as the symptom of a much deeper problem. Doctors don't treat fever as if it were the disease. They treat the infection causing the fever. Your addiction is the fever. What's the infection? That's the question you need to answer. And the answer is not in books. It's in your personal story, in your unhealed wounds, in the parts of you that never had permission to exist. Here's what you'll discover if you dare to go deeper. Your addiction is compensating for a lack of self-love so profound you can't even name it. It's not that you lack self-esteem, it's that you never learned to inhabit your own being without judgment, without conditions, without demands. You never learned to exist without having to prove something, without having to be productive, without having to justify your presence in the world. And now that we've made it this far, before we continue, I want to present the following to you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. Do you feel like there's something inside you that wants to awaken, but you don't know where to start? Then I invite you to transform your way of thinking, and with it, your way of living. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to get the ebook is in the first pinned comment of this video. Grab your copy now at a great price. With that said, let's continue with the video. So you seek external validation. You seek to escape yourself. You seek anything that makes your own company feel less unbearable. And that's devastating, because it means you're running from the only person you'll spend your entire life with: yourself. The solution is not to learn to tolerate yourself, it's to learn to love yourself radically. And I'm not talking about the superficial love of looking in the mirror and saying positive affirmations. I'm talking about the love that accepts every part of you, including the dark parts, the ashamed parts, the parts you believe are unacceptable. I'm talking about the love that says, yes, I did this. Yes, I failed here. Yes, I have this addiction, and I still deserve to exist. That kind of love is revolutionary because it disarms the entire structure of shame on which your addiction rests. Shame is the fuel of addiction. Without shame, addiction loses power. Brené Brown, a researcher on the subject, puts it clearly: shame thrives in secrecy, silence, and judgment. So what do? Exactly the opposite. You talk about it, you bring it into the light, you share it without judgment. And when you do, something magical happens. You discover that you're not the only one. You discover that your story resonates with others, that your pain is not unique, that your struggle is human. And that connection, that mutual recognition, has more healing power than any individual therapy. Because it reminds you of something fundamental. You are not alone. You never were. You only thought you were because we were all pretending to be okay. And here's the final twist you need to understand. Your addiction will not disappear because you find the perfect solution or the right technique. It will disappear when you no longer need it. When you have built a life so rich, so authentic, so aligned with who you truly are, that turning to it becomes more painful than not doing so. When the cost of staying in the pattern is greater than the cost of breaking it. That's the real breaking point. It's not a moment of sudden enlightenment. It's a moment of brutal honesty where you finally admit that you can't keep living this way. So the final question is this: how much longer are you going to wait? How many more years are you going to lose in this cycle? How many versions of yourself are you going to sacrifice before admitting you need a radical change? Because time doesn't stop. And every day you spend trapped in your addiction is a day you won't get back. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to wake you up. Your soul is calling, and it has been calling for a long time. The question is whether you're finally going to answer or keep sending it to voicemail. Answer the call. Listen to the message. Your real life is waiting on the other side of your addiction. But you can't reach it by going around it. You have to go through it. And yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be terrifying. But on the other side is the freedom you've been seeking your entire life. The freedom to be who you really are, without masks, without anesthetic, without the constant need to run away from yourself. That freedom is worth every moment of discomfort you'll have to endure to reach it. So stop postponing and start walking. Your soul has already done its part, it called. Now it's your turn to answer.